Life Management Science Labs would like to acknowledge that we live and produce this podcast on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people. We'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands of our listeners and our international colleagues. We'd like to pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. Hello and welcome to Self-Improvement Atlas, the personal science insight podcast produced by LMSL, the Life Management Science Labs. We are champions of life management science, providing structured insights informed by science and inspired by practice on key aspects of conscious living. Each week, we bring you scientific and practical insights on each element with the expert knowledge of professionals in the field. I'm your host, Aditi Kuti. Let's get on with the show. Welcome back to Self-Improvement Atlas, the Personal Science Insights podcast. I'm here today with Laetitia di Franco, who is a yoga and pranayama instructor and a women's circle facilitator. Laetitia, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Aditi. Thank you for having me today.
I'm hyped to talk to you today. We're going to talk about how yoga helps manage our health and wellness. But before we get into that, did you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do?
Yes, definitely. There's so much to say, but I'll try to be short.
Of course.
So I'm originally from France, but I moved to Australia 5 years ago, and I started teaching yoga 3 years ago. So I did my yoga teacher training in India back in 2020, and since then I've embarked on my yoga journey. I've started really recently to facilitate women's circle as well, and that this has been one of the most incredible journeys so far. And yeah, this is pretty much all about me, about my current life. In the past, I was just studying business and product design. So that was in another lifetime, but now I'm all about health and holistic wellness and yoga.
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of women's circles do you facilitate? What exactly does that entail?
So for me, it was really about creating a strong community for women where they can feel safe and supported. So it's always like a small group of 14, 15 women gathering together once a month, and we just explore a different theme every time on either self development, more yoga, more like the next one will be about sound and vibration and frequency. How does that affect the body? And it's really about sharing experiences, being open, vulnerable, and taking care of ourselves and being there to create sisterhood and support. It's really about community in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds so wonderful. I think, having a safe space to do all of that with a group of people that you trust is so important.
It is definitely. It's like that's what I was telling the woman the other day. Like self care is important, but I feel that we really need community to thrive. This is the foundation, actually.
Absolutely. No, I so agree with you. I'm so with you on that. And I guess like before we talk about more about, I guess, health and wellness and your background, we have a segment called Have You Met Laetitia di Franco, in which I ask you a couple of really quick questions about yourself. Are you ready to answer them?
I'm ready.
Fantastic. So I guess my first question for you is, what is your favorite book?
This is a hard one, but I think my favorite book is called The Perfume by Patrick Suskind. Um, I read it years ago back home, so in French, and it's a beautiful story of this guy. It's actually a true story, like it's a real character, and it just takes you on a journey around the senses and how this guy is creating scents that actually affect people's behavior. So it's a kind of a really interesting story and a thriller as well. And yeah, it takes time in the 18th century. So yeah, it's wonderful book, highly recommended.
Yeah, for sure. Is this the one where, I mean, does he kill people in it? I feel like, yep,
Yes.
yep, yep. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, we are thinking about the same book. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I think I read like maybe half of it, but I'm not very good at finishing books. But it means at some point I will return to it and finish the rest of it.
This is your
So
sign today.
this is my sign. This is my sign to get back to it. What about a favorite movie of yours?
Hmm. Can I say two?
Yes, yes, the more the merrier.
So I love The Green Mile. I feel The Green Mile is one of the best movie of all time, and Inception as well. Inception is absolutely mind blowing. So yeah, these are my two
Sure.
absolute favorite.
Great picks. Inception was a favorite of mine. I remember when I was younger as well, when it first came out. It's a really good movie.
It is. It is incredible.
What about a podcast that you've been really into lately?
Lately, I've listened a lot to The Emerald by Joshua Michael Schrey. I'm sorry if I pronounced the name wrong, but yeah, an absolutely wonderful podcast about different myths and animism and everything mystic. It is such a talented man. Yeah, it's really, really highly recommend this podcast. It's same, really mind blowing, breathtaking, a lot
For
of
sure.
knowledge.
Emerald. That's right.
The Emerald, yeah.
The Emerald. Okay, might add that one to my list. Next up, what about a famous role model that you've looked up to, either in your personal life or your professional life?
To be honest, I don't have really like a role model I would refer to. It's more, people that I've crossed paths with every day that inspired me in a way. I'm not really into like, I'm sorry to say that I'm not like a fangirl. Like I don't like, refer to someone in particular, but it's more like different people that I've crossed paths with that inspire me in some different way and that I've learned from. Yeah, it's more like everyday life experiences and people. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Is there one person in particular that you want to shout out?
To be honest, I feel like lately it's my little brother that inspired me a lot.
Okay.
Is yeah 9 years older than me, younger than me. Sorry, but he's taught me a lot about life and about myself in general lately. Yeah.
As a fellow older sibling with a long age gap between me and my younger brother, I totally understand how your younger sibling can inspire you. It's like they're completely different human beings, a totally different generation, and it feels like you learn about life in a completely different angle just through them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's good. It feels so good to have a different perspective on life and choices that you might have done in the past in a way, and then making their choice in a different way. And I don't know, it's just, yeah, it's really fulfilling and, yeah, and
Yeah, for
interesting.
sure.
Mm.
For sure. No, I totally agree with you. I'm with you on that one. What about the last course that you completed?
Um, so I'm currently on a course actually. I'm currently on a 300-hour advanced Ayurveda, yoga, and tantra course.
Mhm.
But the last one I've completed uh, was was my teacher training actually,
Okay.
3 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I guess the one that you're completing at the moment, it's not the last one you completed, but you're doing it now. So I think it counts.
That's fine.
But that brings us to the end of that segment. Thank you so much, Letitia. You're
Yeah.
known now. So we can now move on to our topic of the day, which is yoga and its impact on health and wellness. I wanted to start off really, really broad. Our topic is our show is about personal development. So I wanted to ask you, how do you define personal development?
To me, personal development is more like about improving oneself, using a wide range of tools and activities, and experiences that will automatically impact your well-being in a positive way, because it's also improving yourself in a good way. So it involves a lot of different aspects: self-reflection, self-awareness, setting meaningful goals, acquiring new skills, new knowledge, expanding your abilities. So it's really like a journey on self-growth, self-improvement, self-actualization, and self-realization as well. Because I feel, a lot of us have an idea of how we should be, what success is. But this is an idea that is a projection of our society. And
Yes.
when we look at personal development, to me, it's personal. It's in the title, like it's personal. So it's also aspiring to achieve some goals and fulfill your very own potential, according to your life, your personality, and not what is expected of you. So
Yeah,
yeah.
no, absolutely. No,
Yeah,
absolutely. That's such a wonderful, wonderful explanation. And I guess it's also so like, I mean, the way you described it, it's like so multifaceted, right? Like there's so many different ways, even just for one person to achieve personal development, and so many different goals to work towards on your own that might not necessarily match to what society wants you to work
exactly.
towards. So
Yeah, no,
yeah.
definitely. This, I mean, there are so many ways, and we are discovering more and more ways of improving ourselves, more and more tools. I mean, it's a never-ending journey. It's a lifelong journey,
Yeah.
personal development. So yeah, we'll learn more and more along the way. So
Yeah, absolutely. What do you feel are like the main challenges with personal development?
I feel like the number one will be discipline and consistency, really. Um, we live in a world where we can have everything instantly,
Instantaneously? Yeah.
instantaneously. Such a difficult world. Um, and it's hard for us to just, maintain focus and overcome procrastination and actually resist that immediate sense of gratification. It's so easy to go on your phone if you need an answer or whatever. You just type something, and then in a second you get the answer that you want. But when it comes to developing yourself, your abilities, and improving your overall well-being, it actually takes a lot of effort, a lot of discipline and motivation, and you actually have to put some work in. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, that would be like the main challenge. But it also another big one would be fear. Overcoming fear and the resistance of change. It's about stepping out of your comfort zone, and really facing that fear of failure or criticism. And failure is an integral part of life, but we often see failure as something bad. It's also like a culture difference, but from where I'm from France, there's a big difference in the culture, in that sense that the perception of failure back home it is really bad.
Okay.
It's really
Yeah.
bad. For example, like the United States would celebrate failure as stepping stone to success. In France, failure is a source of almost of shame and disappointment. So if you fail, it's really hard for an individual to actually step forward again and take another step towards achieving their goals, because every structure will turn their back if you fail, like as an entrepreneur or even as a student, like early childhood. You always it seems like your value is determined by your ability to have good marks, to be productive, to do things the way the society expects you to do it. So there's a big contrast in culture regarding to failure, but like for me, failure is actually necessary to success. This is where you learn. There will be tough moments, but this is about viewing those setbacks as learning opportunities, and about bouncing back from disappointment to actually move further. We always learn along the way. Like, we can't have all the knowledge in the world, and if you don't fail, you never learn anything, and you get stuck in one place. So I really want people to embrace failure. Like, I've changed my path so many times. I've tried so many things because I love trying things, but obviously on the way I've failed a lot. But for me, they're just lessons. I've just grown from that, and I've learned to also accept that I'm a human being, that I'm always learning. I've learned to have self-compassion and resilience, and be adaptable to those changes and to those failures. So yeah, there are so many challenges, honestly, to personal development, but these are the big ones. And obviously, time management is another big one, I feel, in the society now. It's balancing whatever you want to achieve personally with your daily life commitments, with your family life, your work life. So it's really about like building all these routines, these habits effectively, so that you don't lose track of time and actually keep that commitment to yourself. Yeah, stay accountable as well.
Yeah.
Accountability, another big one. Yeah, you are responsible of your choices and of your own life in the end. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I mean, you gave such a beautiful answer to that question, first of all. And all right. So what about, I guess, the mental and emotional benefits of yoga, like especially to kind of that part of our well-being?
yeah, so obviously, on a mental and emotional level, yoga is also really effective because the integration of like the physical postures with breath control and meditation helps us to cultivate mindfulness and self-awareness. So I feel like through a regular practice, individuals learn really to be present in the moment, and automatically it reduces stress, anxiety, depression. Yoga really encourages that sense of relaxation, fosters a sense of calm, of tranquility. You really get grounded, not only in your body, but in the world around you. With the world around you, you really establish that connection, and feeling like you being part of a greater world, for me, is an essential component of emotional well-being as well. And it's been like, scientific researchers have proved that like yoga is like help manage chronic stress and depression, anxiety, and overall mental health. Like, it helps a lot with it, definitely.
Absolutely, yeah. How do you get the most benefit out of practicing yoga?
So I feel like, like for every practice, you need to be consistent. Like any habit, you need to establish a consistent practice. And again, I will go back to commitment and dedication, like we were saying earlier. Um, But maybe I feel like a lot of people will start with the physical practice of yoga before like digging deeper. So if we're going that path, first just start with really realistic goals, depending on your life as well. It also comes back to time management. If you don't have that much time, just set realistic goals for yourself. It doesn't have to be, an hour practice, crazy practice every day at 4 a.m. Not at all. Like just do it whenever you can, wherever you can. Just setting some time aside for yourself, even if it's just 10 minutes. You have to start somewhere. Um, a little tip maybe it will help, but like for me, I just wake up in the morning, I go do my tea, and my mat is already there. It's already set up in the living room next to the window. I have my little space, so I always see my mat. So even if someday I'm just waking up and not feeling really motivated, I'm still going on my mat, laying down there, just taking a deep breath, sipping my tea, just taking a time just to wake up, being with myself and just see how I feel. If I feel like moving, I will move. Otherwise, I'll just end up here. But I feel like just the act of showing up and just taking a few seconds to pause is already a big start, you know? And yeah, it's just about then establishing a routine, really. You really designate that specific time after a while where you know that you're going to do your practice, whether it's early morning, during lunch break, whenever you can, whatever works for you, and then you stick to it. You can have a little reminder on your phone or somewhere, but yeah, just developing that routine day after day.
And I would imagine there's like, I mean, like you said, it's kind of even on your off days, just sitting there with your cup of tea and doing like one pose or two poses can just make a world of difference. It's like that physical aspect of stretching, but also that like mental aspect of just having it to yourself is just so important in the morning, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm not a morning person. So I always need a bit of time to like disconnect from everything in the morning to properly like wake myself up. And I can't disconnect for 3 hours, which is ideally how long it takes me to wake up. But like even just a little bit in the morning can just make a world of difference in terms of how the rest of my day goes.
100%. No,
Yeah.
I'm a morning person, so I love waking up early in the morning and do everything in the morning.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, as you were saying, just a short time for yourself where it's dedicated to yourself and to feeling better and starting the day better or ending the day better or having a break so that your day goes better.
Yes.
Just having this moment of mindfulness is also part of practicing yoga. So yeah, but if sometimes it's really hard for people to actually motivate themselves, just again, accountability, like find an accountability partner or join a community. This is where also creating connection helps. Seek support, so then that when you're actually saying to your friend, okay, tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., we're going to go and practice together, you will feel way more motivated to not let your friend down than actually doing the practice. But still, it will help you build this routine and take those steps towards change.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess that like that was my next question, which is like, how do you develop the habit of practicing yoga? Which, yeah, when you put it that way, like getting an accountability friend that you don't want to disappoint is like a really great way, and it's very different. It's probably even better than attending a class because you can always just kind of say no to the class, which I know I've been guilty of doing on many occasions. But like if you're with a friend, it's like, oh, that's a commitment. Like you're helping them, they're helping you. You're less likely to say no, and finding, I guess, like, one, a time that works for both of you, like you said, but also like yeah, just someone that is going to be affected by the
Yeah.
fact that you didn't turn up at that particular time is such a great way of doing it.
Yeah, definitely. It's always like also more fun to do any activity with someone else, like it's not so much of a chore like um going into physical practice. Sometimes, yeah, you just feel like not doing it, but knowing that you're going to share it with someone that you appreciate, it's also that the experience, sharing the experience. So having a little buddy can help a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. I'm with you on that one. I unfortunately don't have anyone living close by that I could do it with, but I'll force my dog next time.
There you go.
get him
Perfect.
get him to keep me accountable. All right, that brings me to the end of our main segment, and I want to move on now to our practice/habit experiment debrief, where we chat a little bit more about how we can actually like make yoga a part of our day and a part of our routine. So I wanted to ask you, Laetitia, what's a practice that you have done to improve your health management, especially like, I guess, around the practice of yoga and how that relates to maintaining your health?
Um, I feel like one of the main practice or concept that I've incorporated into my daily life is really mindfulness. Like I'm coming back to it because this is something that is so accessible um, to everyone. Doesn't matter your ability, your age, once again, where you are in the world or during the day. Like you can practice mindfulness in every single aspect of your life, and that's the beauty of it. And it really helps to find that connectedness with the world, to appreciate what you have. It automatically develops that uh, feeling of gratitude as well, like the chance that we have to just experience life and to realize that most of the problems we are creating are just creating in our minds. And that when we actually pause and look around, everything is so magical. Every single aspect of our lives is a bit of magic that we can experience if we just take the time to pause and listen and look carefully. So really mindfulness has been a great help, not only to improve my mental and emotional well-being, but also on a physical level. This might be a tiny bit off topics, but like when you eat, for example, mindfully, um, the impact the food has on you is completely different. The way you nourish your body will be completely different when you put like an intention, when you put your whole attention to it. So I feel that even in this sense, um, the way I've treated, yeah, the food I've put in my body, the way I've treated the world around me, stop taking it for granted and actually take time to appreciate it fully for what it is, has been a big, big change. Yeah, mindfulness is huge. Like yeah, is really like for me like an essential part of our life and of our personal development and health management.
Yeah, it is so accessible as well. I mean, there's so many apps at the moment that'll help you like access mindfulness, and like you can do it pretty much anywhere. I mean, ideally you'd be sitting down, but that's not exactly a rule. It's more of an ideal situation as to how to do it, and really finding a place to sit, not super super hard during the day.
Yeah, no, definitely. But like even because I feel like mindfulness is often associated with meditation. Obviously, when you're mindful, you enter a kind of meditative state. But it also mean I don't know. We are talking right now, and I am fully into the conversation. I'm paying attention to you, to your words. I'm looking at you. Even if you are at work, if you're doing something for work, be fully present in what you're doing. Don't think of like the outcome of the action that you're doing, or like future plans, or your life at home, or whatever. Just do everything fully present. So even if you're doing a task that you might hate, just do it completely while being completely here. Like feel every feeling, sense every sensation. That's why it's so beautiful. Like it's really accessible and easy to do at any time of the day, any moment.
Yeah, absolutely. What what is your recommended kind of time and place to be engaging in mindfulness? When during the day, how often a day, or how often a week, and where is kind of the ideal setting?
Ideally every day. But I feel it would be easier, um, at least for a start, to do it first thing in the morning, because you're not contaminated with all the thoughts that you might just generate during the day. You might not be as stressed, overwhelmed, as you can be during the day after like starting your day at work, or like engaging with the outer world. At least when you're waking up, you're fresh, you're free from the outer world for now. So ideally, as soon as you wake up, it's just, you wake up, you can stay laying on your bed and just take a moment to pay attention to the breath, to feel your body, to touch your skin. Or if you wake up, just put your feet on the floor and feel the floor like under your feet. Just really little simple steps like that is practicing mindfulness. Um, but if you can't do it every day, as often as possible, obviously, and there's not really there's not really one ideal place, but obviously, if you can find a space where you can have a quiet time where you won't be disturbed, it will definitely help. Just a little corner of peace and tranquility for 5-10 minutes would be ideal. Yeah.
I guess it goes without saying, but just in case the people listening haven't clued in yet, you probably can't check your phone immediately after you wake up if you want to be mindful first thing in the morning.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good
Probably
one. That's a good one.
avoid checking social media. I know I'm guilty of that one. So I've been trying to stop and wean myself off of it, but especially on like cold mornings, it gets so hard to avoid doing sometimes.
I know. But we all have this bad habits, but
Yeah.
we're all guilty.
It's more like, if so you're engaging in mindfulness
Yeah.
in the morning, you decided to take that on as a practice. Is there another habit or practice that you would also kind of engage in that would probably just enhance your ability to engage in mindfulness a bit more, like two habits that just kind of go hand in hand with each other? I guess I kind of already mentioned don't check your phone in the morning, but like,
Yeah.
little things like that.
This is definitely like a big one. Not checking your phone, like not
Yeah.
putting yourself in front of a screen.
Hmm.
This is a no, at least for 30 minutes. But other than that, engaging in some, gentle movements, not necessarily like we were talking about it earlier, obviously, like with yoga, but it can be any kind of movement, just like start tuning in your body, feeling yourself, feeling that you're living in a body that is, moving and breathing. And so all these yoga, mindfulness, yoga, breathing techniques, any sort of movements. Start preparing, I don't know, a little drink in the morning as well, a tea or something, engaging in a bit of a ritual. This like, yeah, these are like little things I like to do, you know, just having a little ritual, like, you know, just lighting a candle or some incense and making my tea. And as I was saying, I love waking up early. So I love just looking out the window and seeing the world goes by and watching the sunrise. And it's just really little things like that that I do on a daily basis that really go hands in hands with being mindful. Um, so yeah, I don't know if there's anything else I could think of right now, but
I mean, those are quite a few, I think, that you can make a whole morning routine, I think, out of the
yeah, no,
things that you
definitely.
mentioned. Which is perfect. I think that's great. I know that personally I find, because I engage in mindfulness and yoga kind of on and off. Like I have days where I'm like very switched on and then I'm ready to do it and and then like especially in the winter months when my mood is down and that kind of thing, when it's more important for me, my body is kind of like, no, you're not able to concentrate, not fully there. But
Yeah,
I know that what makes me engage in mindfulness easier is actually like just doing it through yoga, because I find like moving my body physically just helps me concentrate a little better. And I think that that's probably like, again, part of what you were suggesting earlier, which is like having little movements that you do while you're doing your breathing exercise to just kind of help you focus sometimes can really help.
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, yeah, for sure. Thank you for sharing all of that. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
the practice. Definitely people have, and you've inspired me. Maybe I'm like I haven't been keeping up, but I'm gonna go back and maybe get started on my morning routine. Keep my phone away. Um, but we might move on now to some questions from the audience. Are you happy to answer them?
Yes, definitely. Bring it on.
Abs- Fantastic. All right. The first question is this. I have genuinely never been able to fully relax and indulge in yoga. I almost never feel present and my mind is always racing. How can I mitigate that to reap the benefits of yoga?
That's funny because this is kind of a question that one of my students asked me a couple of weeks ago because she was like, "Oh, I have this issue. Like during the practice, I just can't stop my mind from going to all these places. I'm so agitated and thinking all the time." I'm like, "Well, this is the role of the brain of the mind. It's always thinking anyway." Um, but I was telling her, you know, the brain is also like the mind is also a muscle. You have to train it. So again, we're coming back, I'm sorry, to discipline and consistency and doing the work. But just every day, every time you're doing your practice and you notice that your mind starts wandering, just notice it. Come back to your breath. I feel like the breath is really like an anchor. That's what I always say during the class. Your breath is your anchor. At any time you're feeling agitated, overwhelmed, or you have an issue going through a posture, come back to the breath. Just pay attention to it. Start counting your inhales and exhales, so the mind has actually something to focus on, but that is still like related to the practice. So I feel this one is the easiest. And if you have to come back to it 1,000 times, come back to it 1,000 times. Also, be really compassionate with yourself. You know, don't get mad if you can't like do it the first time. There's no perfect anyway. But if you feel like you're struggling, don't get mad. Come back to it one after the other. You can also use, you know, mantras. Mantras are great, either your own or mantra that already exists that you can just chant in your mind, touching your fingers, touching your body. You know, just repeating those movements helps actually grounding yourself and really focusing again, like on where you are at the moment in your body. So it's all these little things that can help you moving deeper into your practice, but really is be patient with yourself and be really compassionate, and that's fine. You'll get there. Just keep practicing and yeah.
No, and I feel like you've already said so much about like how you can get into yoga if, you know, it's not something that you're used to or something that you find difficult so far in the episode. So hopefully by the time we've gotten to this question, the person who sent it in will have their answer already.
I hope
So
so.
hopefully. The next question is yoga suitable for someone like me who has never been to the gym or done any regular exercise?
Of course. I mean, this is something that it really annoys me. It's people were telling me, "Oh, I can't do yoga. I'm not strong or I'm not flexible," and I feel like we've got such an idea of yoga being like just only accessible to gymnasts, you know, like or like people of a high fitness level, but we often forget that we're all human beings, that we all have started somewhere, you know. It's because you practice a certain physical practice that you become more like stronger, more flexible. So whatever your condition is, yoga is accessible 100%. Asanas are not supposed to be complicated. You don't have to put your leg behind your neck to practice yoga. And like I was saying earlier, yoga is so much more than that, so much broader. So even if you're just doing breathing techniques, you're still practicing yoga. The way you interact with another human being is part of yoga as well, but this is again another topic. But yes, of course, 100%. I've got so many practitioners who have like different ages, different physical condition, injuries, whatever. They're still practicing. They posture, like the position they might be able to achieve are different from the one next to them, but that's perfectly fine. Everybody is different. Everyone has their own abilities and capacities. This is something I always say during my class as well. I'm only here as a guide, but your body is your teacher. So you listen to your body, you go at your own pace. If you need to take a break during the class, you take a break. There's nothing like to achieve, perform, no expectation in a yoga class. So even if you feel that you're not strong enough for a posture, that's fine. Take a variation and just move slower. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you answered the final audience question for me.
Sorry.
Don't apologize at all. But I guess the question was like, can yoga help with managing chronic pain and reducing inflammation for individuals that experience, you know, chronic pain? But I guess it's like you said, you know, just kind of doing it, listening to your body as you do it as well, and knowing what's too much for you and knowing your limits.
Yeah, exactly. And also like just one practice won't um, cure everything. You know, like it's yoga. Obviously, is part of a holistic approach. So if you eat crap and practice yoga, you won't get like the most benefit out of it, because this is also like the way you nourish your body. Yeah, there's so much to take into account. So if you have like chronic conditions, you also need to look at the food you put in your body, the way you move your body, the way your environment impacts you as well. There's so much to take into consideration. You know, yoga is great, but obviously it won't. It's not a miracle practice. There's a whole set again of resources that we need to explore to take the most benefit out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like not everything, and like obviously like if you need medication for your chronic pain and that kind of thing, you should also be taking that at the same time
Of
as
course.
well, and yoga is just one aspect of the healing.
Exactly. Yeah. It's another resources, but it won't be like your magical cure, you know.
Exactly.
Mm.
Sure. Well, thank you for answering those questions. You gave some beautiful answers that whoever sent those questions in are going to be very happy with. So thank you.
Thank you.
We're now going to move on to our open mic section, in which I let you have a mini TED talk about whatever you feel was important to talk about for the next few minutes. So Laetitia, did you have anything that you wanted to say?
This is a topic that is really dear to my heart, but I really invite anyone, curious about yoga to explore yoga beyond the mat. This is why I came to yoga in the first place. It's because of the spiritual aspect of it. And seeing the yoga industry just being all about the physical aspect, the fitness aspect of it, makes me a little bit sad. And I feel like we're missing out so much just focusing on our bodies. Like I was saying at the very first start of the podcast, for me, community, the way we interact with the world and with each other is the key to making the world a better place. So yeah, please explore yoga beyond the mat. Be kind to yourself, but to one another as well. Really explore and promote the sense of interconnectedness. I really encourage everyone to just foster compassion, empathy, and our own unity. We're all human beings living on the same planet, so let's just try to support each other and move forward, and just not take care of ourselves and our own very individual self-centered person, but live as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. Humans are social creatures, and we weren't designed to be living alone. We were designed to live in communities. So it's very true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel, everyone sends it. It's great to have time for yourself, sometimes to have time of solitude, but as you were saying, we're mainly designed to live in community. So let's just foster that sense of community and really try to work on ourselves to improve our relationships to each other and to others, other not human beings, other living beings.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. That's such a beautiful, I guess, point to end on, and conclusion to kind of be to leave our audience with. Where can they find you?
So mainly on Instagram. So Lata_Isha. I also have my brand business page. It's called A Journey to Mindfulness. So this is also my website, ajourneytomindfulness.com. Still in the building. But this is mainly where you can find me on Instagram. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I've had such a wonderful time chatting to you today. You've given such wonderful answers to all of my questions.
Thank you so much.
And I think I'm going to stop using my phone in the morning.
Yay!
So you've done something right, at least for one person.
I hope so. At least I'm sending a bit of inspiration out there.
Absolutely. All of the details you've given us in terms of where to find you, we'll make sure to put that in the show description. So that's available for anyone who wants to check that out. But thank you. Thank you for chatting to me today.
Thank you so much. It was such a great chat, and I apologize for my English. Sometimes that is really bad. It's not my first language, so sometimes I'm losing my words, but I hope that everyone could understand me well.
I could understand you perfectly fine, so I'm sure the audience could as well.
Beautiful. And thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure, really. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Self-Improvement Atlas, the personal science insights podcast produced by LMSL, the Life Management Science Labs. For more episodes like this from 10 different life management perspectives, search LMSL on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, so you can get updated on everything we have to offer. We have a wide range of topics readily available for you to check out. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider rating our show, sharing it, and subscribing to our channel, as it helps us grow and bring you more quality resources. More of our work can also be found on our website at pe.lmsl.net, where you can join our movement. I'm Aditi Kutty. Thanks for tuning in.